Hello everybody, Alicia Johnson here, and this is an episode of Just Johnsons. I am so glad that I can be able to talk to you today. Unfortunately, my partner in crime is not here. Today I want to talk to the ladies. Many of you probably saw Mike's video when he did a word to the fellas, but today is my turn to talk to us ladies. And first of all, I just want to say you're beautiful, hands down. If nobody's told you that today, just know you're beautiful. Now, going ahead, in the world of men and women speak two totally different languages. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Well, let me tell you, honey, it is true. I think that all of the little books that I read, all of the little studies that I did, all of the romantic comedies that I watched gave me this skewed vision of how marriage was going to be and how men really think. Now that I live with a man, I understand that we are on two totally different wavelengths. And with that being said, my first little piece of advice for us ladies is to make sure that we are communicating. When we don't speak this, because we don't speak the same language as our lovely husbands, we cannot always expect them to understand what we need, what we want, or even what we expect just because it's in our head. Because what happens is we've all watched the movie where they get into the fight and the woman walks off and then the man comes running and baby I love you and he gives you flowers and and it's over. But in the real world, that's not how it is. In the real world, a lot of times he goes in his room, I go in my room, and we're mad and I'm waiting on him to make it up to me, and he goes and plays basketball. So just know that you have to communicate. You cannot hold something over your husband's head just because you have an expectation, especially if you have not communicated that expectation. If you are hoping that when he comes home he does X, Y, or Z, and you have never told him what X, Y, or Z is, unless he is psychic or unless he is a mind reader, my sister, you're going to be disappointed. And I am telling you this first point just because I want you to help alleviate some headache in your home. A lot of arguments that we have in our home were because I had an expectation that I just hadn't communicated, and it wasn't fair. Mike didn't know what I wanted. Mike didn't know how I wanted it. Mike didn't know that I even expected it to be that way. But because I had watched one too many times movies like Pretty Woman, He's Just Not That Into You, and Love Jones and Brown Sugar and all this kind of stuff, and it had me all in my little womanly feels thinking that at the end of the day the man would just figure it out. They don't. We speak two totally different languages, and that's the big thing that I want to say is that you have got to communicate. If your love of your life has asked you what's wrong and you feel like he should just know what is wrong because of the conversation you had a day ago or even that morning, I promise you that if he knows something is wrong and that's his question just to try to get you talking, he probably doesn't understand your point completely. So if you are not ready to talk, because we all know the reason why we say nothing. The reason why we do that, nothing, for all the men watching, I want to let you know, when your wife says nothing, the reason why she's saying that is because she needs a minute to gather her thoughts and she is trying to avoid confrontation. Ladies, what we should probably actually say is, at this time, I can't really talk to you. I'm really in my feelings and I need a minute to gather myself. If we say that, then we're letting them know that we're going to tell you, but at this moment, we're probably going to take a low blow, and we don't nobody want that. Okay. Number 2, I have on here forgive quickly. This is something that I still struggle with. Reason being is I am a very sensitive person. I am very emotional. I'm a writer, so words and all of that matter to me. My feelings sometimes may even get hurt, what some people feel like is a little too quickly. I have learned to embrace that I'm sensitive. I know that in my walk with Christ, that allows me to be able to discern really easily some things, and also helps me in my prayer time. So that's a little tidbit for all you sensitive people. That's probably why you are sensitive. But on that note, if I am hurt in my marriage, a lot of times that causes me to build up walls and hold grudges, like I am trying to win the world championship tournament in tug of war. I can remember what you did on February 2nd of 2001 at 8:08 p.m. And because of that, I am working on forgiving quickly. The reason why is because I have made a vow to stay married to this man for the rest of my life, right? So what good is it gonna be if I'm holding a grudge that he's already said I'm sorry for, and I've already said I forgive you? What good is it gonna do my marriage if I'm still holding on to the thing that I told him that I forgave him for? Especially since we stuck together like glue. This ring don't just, it's pretty, but it means forever. And because of that, forgiving quickly is something that I'm praying that I can get better at, so that we can recover more quickly. Because a lot of times the separation that occurs in marriage between a husband and wife happens as a result of us both holding grudges, not forgiving quickly, and then our arguments piling on top of each other like bricks. And so then, in order for us to come back together and be intimate, or to be in speech, in quality time or whatever, you have to break down the whole wall. So let's just work on forgiving quickly. I wish I could tell you how to do that. I'm still praying my way. I just know that's something that we need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to forgive and let go, not forgive and remember and remind and remember and remind. Because if we are doing that because we feel like they're not learning their lesson, that's not gonna make them learn any quicker. It's actually gonna make them build up their male ego and go, well, if you're gonna hold your grudge, I'm gonna bang my chest because I'm the man, So that's just how it works. Forgiving quickly is the only thing that's going to soften the heart of your husband and give you his ear, so that y'all can learn together, grow together, and be better together. Finally, I'm just gonna say it. God is going to hold us accountable for our actions, not our husband. My husband, Mike, is not gonna be held accountable for the things and decisions that I make in our marriage. What I mean by that is that if he does something and it is just wicked and it is just, and you have every right to be upset, girl, I can't believe. If he does that and I in myself decide that I'm going to figure out a way to make it hurt and make it hurt hard, or I'm going to figure out a way to hold my grudge, or I'm going to figure out a way not to talk to him or to leave the house or to go here or whatever, if I do that, it's not going to bring me and my husband closer together. It's going to separate us, and I'm still going to be held accountable for whatever it is that I did. If we as women, as wives, would learn to take control of our actions and not feel like I wouldn't be this way if he wasn't like this, or I would be nice if he would just do this. No, we have to take control of our actions, submitting to God, and then in turn God will work on your husband. I promise you, if we submit to God by walking through our home and forgiving quickly and communicating and being slow to speak or slow to anger or honest in our feelings, if we submit to God by respecting our husband and not calling him all kind of names and not telling him what he doesn't do, all this, and not doing that, and not, and not having this whole moment. If we learn to submit to God by respecting our husbands, and even, I know this is going to be a hard pill to swallow, responding in love even in the face of frustration, I promise you, it keeps these hands, your hands, my hands, the wife's hands clean, and so then God can do the work on him. As long as we're trying to teach him a lesson, the lesson's not going to get learned. But if we submit to God and respect and honor and not have bitterness in our speech, like, it's crazy, y'all. I remember one time I was doing a study, and in Proverbs it says like 3 times that it's better for a man to live on a roof than to live in a house with a contentious woman. I love my husband no matter how mad I get. I don't want him living on a roof. That's gonna be crazy. At the end of the day, life is still about salvation. It's still about getting to heaven. It's still about honoring God. It's still about making sure that God knows that he is the love of your life. And God cannot even feel like, as our Father, like he's the love of our life if we're disrespecting our husbands. There have been plenty of times I've said the wrong thing in an argument. There have been plenty of times that I have been sitting in the room waiting on him to come make it right. And God will say, go apologize. And I'm like, what? And he'll say, go apologize. But I'm like, but God, go apologize. And in that moment, the argument falls apart and we're able to come back together and actually learn. Because what's the point of us arguing and having disagreements if we're not going to get back on the same page? What's the point? So I'm just saying, I didn't get married to live miserably. I got married to live a blessed life. And if you're one of those ladies out there who just so happen to have a hard-headed husband or a hard-hearted husband, and you're not getting through to him, and you feel like, oh my God, I just can't take it no more, take a step back and just start submitting to God. Love on him anyway. If the Bible tells us to love our enemies, then I'm sure he means the same thing for our loved ones who just so happen to get on our nerves a little bit. Because I promise that if you begin to love, not only are you freeing up your mind space and your heart, but you're also allowing God room to work on your husband. Because at the end of the day, you want your husband better, not bitter. So I hope that helps y'all. I'm going to get out the way. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Do, 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 do. Bye, girl.